जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्योत्तर सतश्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस जय श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्योत्तर सतश्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Narada's Instructions on Srimad-Bhagavatam, text number 35. Yad atra kriyate karma, yadatra kriyate karma, yadatra kriyate karma, bhagavat paritoshanam, bhagavat paritoshanam, Bhagavat paritoshanam, jnanam yat tad adhinam hi, jnanam yat tad adhinam hi, jnanam yat tad adhinam hi, bhakti yoga samanvitam, bhakti yoga samanvitam, Bhakti yoga samanvitam, yadatra kriyate karma, bhagavat paritoshanam, jnanam yattadadhinam hi, bhakti yoga samanvitam, yadatra kriyate karma, Bhagavat paritoshanam, jnanam yattadadhinam hi, bhakti yoga samanvitam. Matajis. Yat, whatever, atra, in this life or world, kriyate, does perform, karma, work, bhagavat, unto the personality of Godhead, paritoshanam, satisfaction of, jnanam, knowledge, yat tat, what is so called, adhinam, dependent, he, certainly, bhakti yoga, devotional, samanvitam, dovetailed with bhakti yoga. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord, and what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Kindly repeat. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The general and popular notion is that by discharging fruitive work in terms of the direction of the scriptures, one becomes perfectly able to acquire transcendental knowledge for spiritual realization. Bhakti Yoga is considered by some to be another form of karma, but factually, Bhakti Yoga is above both karma and jnana. Bhakti Yoga is independent of jnana or karma. On the other hand, jnana and karma are dependent on Bhakti Yoga. This Kriya Yoga or Karma Yoga, as recommended by Sri Narada to Vyasa, is specifically recommended because the principle is to satisfy the Lord. The Lord does not want His sons, the living beings, to suffer the threefold miseries of life. He desires that all of them come to Him and live with Him. But going back to Godhead means that one must purify himself from material infections. When work is performed, therefore, to satisfy the Lord, the performer becomes gradually purified from the material affection. This purification means attainment of spiritual knowledge. Therefore, knowledge is dependent on karma or work done on behalf of the Lord. Other knowledge, being devoid of Bhakti Yoga or satisfaction of the Lord, cannot lead one back to the kingdom of God, which means that it cannot even offer salvation, as already explained in connection with the stanza, Naishkarmyam apyachyuta bhava varjitam. The conclusion is that a devotee engaged in the unalloyed service of the Lord, specifically in hearing and chanting of His transcendental glories, becomes simultaneously spiritually enlightened by the divine grace, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Recently, the Indian cricket team came back after winning the World Cup. And so you must have seen everywhere. When the team came back in Bombay, they had organized one parade. And people had lined up on all the streets. Bombay came to a standstill. And I think they went to some stadium. And, huge gathering, thousands of people. And they were all applauding, they were all glorifying all the achievement. It's not a small thing to win the World Cup. And I don't know how many years, they said so many decades later, the World Cup has again come to India. So naturally, a lot of euphoria, a lot of appreciation. And so big an achievement that the team went and met the Prime Minister after the, whatever celebration they had. So you can imagine, Prime Minister wants to meet them. Such a big achievement. Normally, we see that whenever anybody achieves a big thing, he achieves a big feat, it is celebrated in a very big way. It may be in the field of sports, it may be field of science, it may be in the field of music, arts, etc. Everywhere, in any field, anybody achieves something very big, it is celebrated in a very big way. One of our devotees is studying in IIT, and he was doing research on some project. And that, whatever research he had done, Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki jai. Whatever research he had done, that was used in the Chandrayaan or whatever, some space satellite, whatever the Indian ISRO sent out into space. Immediately, that news was picked up, and the newspapers were all printing the photo of this devotee, and then one big article, half-page article about what he did in IIT, how he discovered something, and that was used in Chandrayaan, etc. Some achievement in the education field or the field of knowledge, that is also celebrated. And if we see, once in 12 years we have the Kumbh Mela. And during Kumbh Mela, there are certain dates which are known as Shahi Snan. Those are very auspicious days. Generally on those days you will see, although there are millions of people, lakhs and lakhs of people who come there to take bath at Prayag. So at that time you will see, first opportunity is given to certain sadhus. And you will see many Naga Babas, they come, they take bath, then they go. After that only it is opened up for the public. So you see a religious event like Kumbh Mela, celebration of saintly people, people who are very austere, people who have renounced the material world. So somebody takes that kind of austerity, that is also celebrated. And you will see recently another news has been going around about the marriage of one of Ambani's sons, and celebrities from all over the world. I think the marriage is not yet, it's going to happen, I think. So all celebrities from all over the world are expected, and so many pre-wedding celebration itself is a big thing. Even during the engagement also, many big celebrities from all over the world have come. So after all, it's a wedding. So many people are getting wedded. So, but nobody's wedding attracts so much attention. But this wedding, from all over the world, from US and other countries also, people are coming. They are also taking notice. Why? Because not an ordinary family, Ambani family. To be born, to be engaged in some event in a particular aristocratic family, that is also celebrated in a very big way. We can see how all these things, some achievement, some belonging to a very aristocratic family, acquiring knowledge, all these things are celebrated in a very big way. This is normal, this is natural. We all don't even think about it. Few days back, I was sitting in my office, and you see my office, there are windows which are facing the road. Outside our campus, there is a main road, no? So from my office, I have a good view of the main security gate, and a small portion of the road in front of the gate I can see. I was sitting there and working. Suddenly I heard a lot of music, drums and some singing and music and all those kind of things. So I was wondering what is going on. So I turned around. Little while later, the music grew louder, and I saw some people are dancing and hitting the drum and all those kind of things. So I was thinking, what is going on? Maybe some wedding party or something like that. And firecrackers, they're bursting. Then after a little while, that group passed on, and then behind them is a hearse van. Somebody has died, and they are taking him to the cremation ground, and that is being celebrated. And if you look at that hearse van, decorated very nicely with, and the dead body is lying there and full of lot of flower garlands and all those kind of things, nicely decorated. Actually, you see, even when some big celebrity, some big politician dies, the dead body will be brought, thousands of people will come and have darshan of the dead body. And people will bring big, big garlands, beautiful rose garlands, lotus garlands, all that. You'll see big garlands, beautiful looking garlands. They are coming and putting. And there'll be a very nice stage created where, in a very grand way, the send-off is, final send-off is arranged for such big people. But actually, if you see, all that decoration for the dead body is for what purpose? In the Vedic scriptures it is stated, Bhagavad Bhakti hinasya jati shastram japastapaha apranasyaiva dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. Apranasyaiva dehasya, this body, as long as we are in this body, we are alive. As long as prana is there in this body, then we take care of the body, we dress the body nicely, we take bath and decorate the body, all these things we do. Now, apranasyaiva dehasya, for a deha, for a body which is aprana, which is without prana, that means there is a dead body lying there. For a dead body, mandanam, the decoration of a dead body, what is the purpose? We living people, putting on nice dress, wearing tilak, all those kind of things, decorating ourselves makes sense. Because, we go and meet many people, we come to the temple for darshan, so many devotees are there, all that is fine. So you have to be presentable, even in the outside world also. You go to office, you go to work, you meet so many people, you have to be presentable. You cannot go, fully looking dirty and hair all disheveled and all those kind of things. You have to appear properly. But for a dead body, which is anyway going to be burnt or it is going to be buried in a short while, you are not going to keep the dead body forever. For a dead body, mandanam, the decoration of a dead body is for what? Lokaranjanam, it is only for entertainment. It has no other purpose. Just for a few hours, the people, you show, dead body nicely decorated. But ultimately, what is going to happen to the dead body? Nothing is going to come out of it by the decoration of the dead body. It is only either going to be burnt or buried. Now, the Vedic scriptures are giving this example, that decoration of a dead body is only useless labor. It is only for entertainment. It has no other value. So, in a similar way, Jati Shastram Japas Tapaha. Jati, he birthed in a very big aristocratic family, just like you are seeing. Celebration of the wedding of somebody in one of the richest families. That has become a very big thing. Shastram, education, somebody is getting educated in IIT, he is discovering something that is getting used in Chandrayaan, celebration of that. Japaha, and one's erudition, one becoming a great spiritualist, so-called spiritualist, like all this, you go to Kumbh Mela, you have so many different kinds of sadhus. And tapaha, various kinds of austerities we take up in achieving big, big things, achieving the World Cup, and like the Olympics, some medal we get. All this, for all this you have to undertake a lot of austerity, a lot of hard work you have to do. So when we achieve any of these things, birth in a very aristocratic family, or we acquire some very important discovery we make in the field of science and knowledge, or we achieve some very big thing in sports or music or something like that. All these things are celebrated in a very big way in the material world. But the Shastras are stating all this is like decorating a dead body. It has no other value. Only for entertainment for a short while of time. There is some entertainment for the people. After that, all forgotten, all gone, finished. It has no value. Bhagavad Bhakti hinasya, without the devotional service to Krishna, whatever else we take up in this material world is useless labor, just like decorating a dead body. This is the example given in the Vedic scriptures. So, in a similar vein, here, Narada Muni is telling Vedavyasa, Yadatra kriyate karma, whatever activity we do here, it has to be Bhagavad Paritoshanam. It has to be dovetailed in serving Krishna, in pleasing Krishna, Paritoshana. Paritoshana means complete satisfaction, complete the serving the complete pleasure of Bhagavat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then it becomes Bhakti Yoga. Then such activity has got a meaning. Otherwise, like Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, in the previous verses it is stated, Naishkarmyam appachyuta bhava varjitam, na shobhate alam niranjanam. Although even the highest level of renunciation that one can achieve is to develop knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and Naishkarmya, achieve a state where one performs activities, duties without attachment for the fruits. So, Jnanam Alam Niranjanam, spiritual knowledge, and Naishkarmya, engaging in activities, in karma, where one is not attached to the fruits of one's actions, performing only one's duty. All these things may be highly celebrated in the material world. Selfless work in this material world is highly celebrated. But without engaging those activities in serving the pleasure of Krishna, all of this is useless labor. So, yadatra kriyate karma, whatever activity we do in this material world, whether that activity is worth celebrating, whether it has any value or not, how do we measure that? One single criterion. Bhagavat paritoshanam. Has it satisfied, has it pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Winning the World Cup in cricket may be pleasing to 1.4 billion Indians. It may be pleasing to 140 crore Indians. But if it is not pleasing to Krishna, what is it? It is apranasya dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. It is only as good as decorating a dead body. So the criterion whether some activity is really meaningful and purposeful is whether it has pleased Krishna or not. That same activity, when it is engaged in pleasing Krishna, then it becomes a highly valuable asset for the jiva, for the living entity. Just like there are a lot of people who sing and dance. Now you go to the material world, there are people who, they go to the disco and sing and dance. And there are yet other people, they will go to Spikmakke or some big hall auditorium like that. They'll buy a ticket, they'll go and sit there. Somebody comes and performs some classical dance and music. There are people who appreciate like that also. Music and dance is appreciated. People enjoy that. But when it is done for our satisfaction and pleasure, it is meaningless. That same singing and dancing, you come to the temple and in front of the Lord you do it, then it has great value because you are doing it Bhagavat Paritoshanam. You are doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna. So somebody may question that you are talking about the criterion of pleasing Krishna. But then we see that people who are engaged in cultivating jnana, spiritual knowledge, they are studying the Upanishads, they are studying the Vedanta Sutras, and some other people are there, they are doing lot of punya karma, they are doing yajnas, they are doing homa, havan, they are doing lot of charitable activities, they are supporting so many underprivileged people, they are building charitable hospitals, charitable schools. What about all these things? Don't they have any value? So once I was doing parikram in Vrindavan. It was an Ekadashi and Ekadashi day. It is a custom to do Vrindavan parikrama. When we were doing parikram, I was on the road doing the parikram, and on the way there are so many ashrams, so many mutts. And there was one ashram, I was passing in front of that, and outside they had put a speaker, and inside there was some katha going on. And some speaker, I don't know which speaker he was speaking and he was telling, see how the Bhakti of Yashoda Mai and all the Gopas, Bhakti we have to do, we have to do Bhakti to Krishna. And by doing Bhakti to Krishna, one day we will come to the state of Jnana and then we will realize what is Brahman. Like this he was saying. Actually, generally in the material world, people attach a lot of value to this acquiring of this kind of knowledge of the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras. And people also appreciate when somebody does a lot of punya karma. He does a lot of charitable activity, helping others and all these kind of things. But in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated that Jnanatah Sulabha Muktir. If we attain spiritual knowledge, we study the Vedic scriptures, we study the Upanishads, we study the Vedanta Sutras. By doing this, Sulabha Muktihi, very easily you'll get moksha, you'll get mukti, liberation. Liberation from the cycle of repeated birth and death, from the miseries of birth, death, disease and old age. You can easily attain mukti. Jnanataha Sulabha Muktir. And Yajnadi Punyataha Bhuktir. By engaging in very charitable activities, donating some for some good cause, helping some poor people, establishing some charitable hospital, charitable schools. There are so many people who engage in these kind of pious activities. By doing this, bhakti, very easily you can attain a life of a life of affluence and a lot of material facilities and happiness. You can even elevate yourself to the heavenly planets. Even if you are not elevated to the heavenly planets, even within this world you can enjoy. It is very easy to attain heavenly planets and to attain mukti by performing punya and by study of the Vedic scriptures. But Seyam Sadhana Sahasrair, you may engage in thousands of such punya activities, thousands of such pious activities. You may engage in study of thousands of Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra and such scriptures. You may spend thousands of lifetimes cultivating such knowledge and executing such pious activities. Seyam sadhana sahasrair sudurlabha haribhakti. But by doing all these things, to attain bhakti to Hari, to bhakti to Krishna, devotional service to Krishna is sudurlabha. It is practically impossible. Because the position of Bhakti Yoga is far, far superior compared to all these processes of karma, jnana, ashtanga yoga. None of these other yoga systems can compare with the process of Bhakti Yoga. And that is why Narada Muni is actually making a statement here. Jnanam yattad adhinam hi Bhakti Yoga samanvitam. When we engage in activities of Bhagavat Paritoshanam, activities for the pleasure of Krishna, although they may seem like ordinary activities, you are singing and dancing in front of the Lord, just like we were doing kirtan before the class. So what were we doing? We were simply singing and dancing in front of Krishna. So it may appear like some ordinary activities. You go to some outside, you go to some club or some other place, you will see people, young people singing and dancing there. It appears like that. But then, here the singing and dancing is meant only for the pleasure of Krishna, Rukmini, Satyabhama. So what happens? That activity, although it is externally, it appears like ordinary common activity, what happens? Jnanam yattad adhinam hi. Because it is performed for the pleasure of Krishna, automatically, jnanam yattad adhinam. Knowledge, spiritual knowledge, becomes a concomitant factor. Meaning, it becomes that acquiring of spiritual knowledge or revelation of spiritual knowledge within the heart is subservient to our performing devotional service to Krishna. When we sing and dance in front of Lord Krishna, we don't have to sit and study the Vedanta scriptures. We don't have to sit and study the Upanishads. We don't have to sit and study anything. Simply by performing that Nama Sankirtana in front of Krishna, what happens? Spiritual knowledge is automatically revealed within the heart. And a devotee, when he performs devotional service, what is he doing? He is feeding Krishna, he is dressing Krishna, he is cooking for Krishna, going to the market, buying groceries, buying vegetables for Krishna. All common activities. But by doing that, what happens? He is elevating himself to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, which is completely transcendental. And by doing that, he is surpassing the results one can attain by cultivating Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, and that is being revealed by Narada Muni to Vyasa. That Yadatra Kriyate Karma Bhagavat Paritoshanam Jnanam Yattadadinam Hi Bhakti Yoga Samanvitam. Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord, and what is called the knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Why is Narada Muni making this statement? Because Vyasadeva until now he has explained karma, how to perform karma yoga, and he has explained how to perform Ashtanga yoga, and he has explained how to perform Jnana yoga in the different parts of the Vedic scriptures. Narada Muni is telling, but by doing all these things, what are the people gaining? Mandanam Lokaranjanam Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. They are only decorating a dead body. No use. Actually, what you should be doing, Narada Muni is telling Vyasadeva, what you should be doing, you should be explaining to people how to engage, dovetail every activity for the pleasure of Krishna. By doing that, all other results are achieved. The result of performing Karma Yoga, the result of performing Jnana Yoga, the result of performing Ashtanga Yoga, everything is achieved very easily. But, although by performing Bhakti Yoga, all other results are included in that, why do people not follow it? Because the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is stating, Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. It is very, very rare, very, very difficult to come to the point of devotional service to Krishna. Why? Because without achieving the mercy, the compassion, the grace of a pure devotee, one cannot achieve devotional service. One cannot come to Bhakti Yoga. When you look at all other yoga processes, Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, even though you may not come in touch with a spiritual master like that, you can still use your intelligence and your abilities and your ability to control your senses, your determination. You can use all these things and progress on those respective paths. For engaging in Karma Yoga, what do you need? You need to know what is your duty as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra or Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, whatever Varna and Ashrama you fit into. Look at Manu Samhita and the Vedic scriptures, all the rules and regulations are given, you follow that. Jnana Yoga, if you are learned in Sanskrit, you study the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, you speculate and you progress further. Ashtanga Yoga, you are very determined, you can control your senses, then you can learn, then you can practice Ashtanga Yoga. But Bhakti Yoga is not something which you can achieve on your own. For Bhakti Yoga, you need the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So all of us, we have all come to realize who is Krishna, what is the position of Krishna, what is the value of doing devotional service to Krishna. How did we know all these things? Is it because we are all born in India? Because we are all Hindus? I am sure all of us, before we came in touch with Prabhupada's books, we also were Hindus, we are also religious people. We would also go to temples. We would go to Kali temple, we would go to Durga temple. According to the season, our devotion will change. Navaratri comes, we'll go to Durga temple. Ganesh Chaturthi comes, we'll all, there will be a big line in Ganesha temple. And then Shivratri comes, we'll be standing in front of some Shiva temple. Janmashtami comes, we'll come to Krishna temple also. What is the position of Krishna with respect to all these people? Did we all know? For us, Krishna was also another personality like all these other devatas. It is only after coming in touch with Prabhupada's books that we have realized what is the position of Krishna, what is the meaning of Bhakti Yoga, what is the value of devotion, rendering devotional service to Krishna. So you see, this is the effect of coming in touch with the lotus feet, with the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee like Prabhupada. And that is the example of Narada Muni also. Narada Muni was just an ordinary boy. He was a maid servant's son, not very highly educated and all that. There was no scope for his education also. He was just hardly a 5-year-old kid. But he had the great fortune of coming in touch with those great Bhakti Vedantas, pure devotees. And simply because 4 months he got an opportunity to associate with them and he got the dust from their lotus feet, what happened? He became Narada Muni, he became Deva Rishi. Even the Devatas bow down before Narada Muni. Such an exalted position he was able to achieve. Simply because of the grace of those pure devotees. Similarly, for us also to come to the stage of Bhakti Yoga, we have to achieve the grace of a pure devotee like Prabhupada. But to achieve the grace of a pure devotee is Sudurlabha, Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. It is not easy, it is very, very rare. Therefore, we have to appreciate our great fortune in having come in touch with the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And like Narada Muni, it is our great fortune, some causeless mercy of Krishna and Prabhupada, that we have come in touch with Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's instructions, and Prabhupada's mission. So we should utilize this opportunity to its fullest extent, serve Prabhupada's mission till our last breath, and next life we will be going back to Godhead. So I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.